I did just realize I actually have a fan in one of my drawers. Give me like 2 seconds.
Oh man.
It's like the most basic one I can find, but there we go. And hopefully I don't break something. Nope, something's probably better. Anyway,
Would you like to do that again?
no, we're good. We're good. Just keep that all in. Just keep
Okay.
it all.
All right. I'm gonna keep it in. Hello. hello, and welcome to the Cup TV, where we put the real and the tea in reality, and where you can always come to us first to quench your reality thirst. I am your girl Lana, your resident evil diva, here to give the tea, spill the tea, and drink the tea because you know I love me some tea. Her. And if you have some tea, you know what to do. Hit me up. I am drinking Sprite today.
Ooh.
Just got a little bit of Sprite left. I'm gonna sip on that. But if I was drinking something in any cup, it would be in my cup mug. Cup mug.
Beautiful cup mug.
Yeah. Yep. Cup mug. And you could get your cup mug at lanagcreation.etsy.com. And we do ship internationally and domestically. So there are no excuses. And I'm looking at you, amazing race fans all around the world. All of you. Because we travel around the world, so I'm sure all of you are around the world. So get your cup merch. Not just the mug, but all of our cup merch. Period.
And my name is Jack. I am the I am the college student here, who unfortunately has not traveled around the world that much, but India is up there for me. So we'll see what happens. These 2 episodes were definitely something.
Yeah. We'll talk all about it.
And I think I don't know if it's just like coincidence, but like it seems like they're definitely sticking to we're going to be in a country for 2 legs and then
Yes.
which good on them.
Yeah, that is what I think they're doing. They're doing the whole 2 legs in one place at a time. It cuts down on traveling and flying so much because I mean, just because they say we're done with COVID, we're still in COVID times. There's still, some travel restrictions going on. So I get why they're doing it. It makes sense. It makes sense for them to do that. So we start this leg still in Vietnam, and at the um, Sheraton Canto.
Yes.
That is where they're going to depart from. And the order of their departures is literally like minutes apart. Some literally a minute. So Robin and Chelsea depart at 7 a.m. with Steve and Anna Lee departing at 7:01 a.m. And then Todd and Ashley departing at 7:02 a.m. And then Joel and Garrett at 7:03. Then Rob and Corey at 7:09. Then Liam and Jeremy at 7:17. Andrea and Melina at 7:18. Greg and John at 7:19. Joel and Garrett at 7:24. And Morgan and Lena at 7:36. So very much all together leaving there, and they are told that they have to make their way to the airport and fly to Jaipur, India. Now, as we all know, India is chaotic. There's a lot of people in India, and it's always just people everywhere. Every time we go to India on the Amazing Race, people either freak out or of how many people is, or they like learn to respect the culture a lot more, seeing how many people are just it, it feels like jam packed into this land, and it's a lot of people here. What did you think of them flying to it? Everybody was on the same flight, by the way.
Oh,
Everybody got on the same flight.
yeah. I mean, we've fully equalized from the roadblock pit stop that ended up happening. And I think that's realistically why they were so close together.
Mm-hmm.
At least from what I remember, because this at this point is a full 2 weeks ago. Um, they checked in at pretty different times from that roadblock because it was literally just realizing one thing and then being able to slam the button and get in.
Mm-hmm.
So I think it makes sense to kind of equalize everyone here, especially as you're going into a new country. Uh, Vietnam and India are generally close, at least compared to some of the other locations. Like going from just a full example that's coming out of my head randomly, India to Germany. That
Mm-hmm.
a little bit of a farther distance, so it makes sense
Mm-hmm.
that they're just going to keep everyone together and hope that nothing goes wrong.
Right.
India itself is a very interesting location on the race. We've been here so many times
Mm-hmm.
across so many different, even versions of the Amazing Race. And
Mm-hmm.
I am really happy, but here we actually kind of get to see two different legs, one where it's more spread out and
Mm-hmm.
based around art,
Mm-hmm.
while the other one, yeah, it's a lot more about chaotic hustle and bustle and
Yeah.
traffic.
Yes.
So once again, a perfect dichotomy of India.
Agreed. So once they get to Jaipur, India, they have to travel to Amber's palace and carry a bundle of sugar canes up to a path to a man, a minute, in order
Mahout.
to
Yeah.
in order to receive their next clue. Now, when they got the sugar cane, they thought it was just gonna be a quick
No.
journey up to this and find it. No,
Ooh.
this palace was huge. This palace was huge, and they had to trek. And it was elephants on the path, and it was camels on the path, and they had to travel up this long, long trail up to find the minutes and give them the sugar cane where they were feeding the elephants at the top, which is beautiful. I mean, I had never been that close to an elephant before, so if I was to see that, I'd probably be like, wow, that's amazing. But then also like, okay, we got to race. Because like I wonder, you have to take. I feel like you should always take a moment to just look around where you are, where even in the race, if it's not that close, if it's not like okay, it's gonna cost me to race if I stop and take a look. But what is the next time you go find yourself in India next to this beautiful creature feeding it sugar cane?
Never.
Never.
Absolutely never. This
So
is like, of all things, this is a one in a lifetime experience that you will never get back. So,
exactly. Take a
well,
moment, just be like, look at where I am.
they do kind of get a second shot at it when they see it on TV again, but that's not the same thing.
It's not
That's
the
never
same
the
as
same thing.
seeing it. And so, oh,
Hmm?
oh, I'm sorry. I got So then they go to find the they moved on to after they get the clue they go to the roadblock,
Yeah,
and it's
immediately.
immediately to the roadblock, and it's who's feeling balanced, and a team member has to perform a Bahavi dance, which involves balancing a stack of three pots on their heads without dropping it in order to receive their next clue. What did you think about this challenge, Jack? This roadblock.
I'm not coordinated at all. This would be a horrible day for me. I can't dance normally. Having to then focus on three pots on top of my head at the same time,
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to just say that's not a great idea. And I would very much be in the same position that Rob and Corey are, where, yeah, no, it does not. This challenge does not go great at all.
Yeah, I feel like I was like, huh. I think I'm gonna do okay because I think I'm coordinated. I find myself coordinated. I can dance a little bit. I got a little rhythm to keep. The balance is on my head. I I'm not sure. I think I gotta. What you think? Sure.
No, that's not bad. Okay, you
Yeah,
had it for a second.
I had it for a second, and then I started moving. But if I find that perfect sweet spot on my head, I think I'll be okay. But that's me sitting, dancing and trying to do. I think I can get the moves, but I don't know if I will be able to keep the pots on my head as I move. I don't know. But some people did okay. Robin Corey, poor Corey. I feel so bad for him.
This was that man struggled so hard, and
Oh,
you could see the lead that they, well, not the lead that they've gotten, but they were in a great spot,
mm-hmm.
and it just vanished.
It vanished. Everybody was coming in and leaving before him. Anna Lee did really well with this. After she didn't take too long to get it. Um, Other people, Garrett did okay. Did okay. Corey was just the one. Corey was the one that struggled the most, and it was bad. But then they have to go to make their way to Panamina, Cancun, to find their next clue, which was a detour, and they had to make their way to Jaguar Fort. Jaguar. I my
Jagarth, I
Jagar
believe.
Fort. I think it's Jagar. Yeah, you might be right. Jagar. My pronunciation is horrible, but Jagar Fort. And so they had to choose between All Dolled Up or the Big Picture. I actually know it. All Dolled Up or the Big Picture. Now, Jack, which one would you have chosen, knowing what the detours are?
So it it depends honestly on the time that I would be getting there.
Mm-hmm.
My goal would be to try and choose the big picture because I'm good with details. I can see things. It's like what the challenge ends up leading to is like, oh, this has
Mm-hmm.
two sashes versus one, or this man is looking this direction instead of this direction.
Right. He's wearing a pendant or not a pendant.
So I would have loved to have done that. If I had to, and I thought it would have, there's probably already six people because surprise,
Mm-hmm.
like most things on, like some other things on the race, um, the big picture had a specific amount of people who could take it on, which was six.
6. Mm-hmm.
Which I mean makes sense. Otherwise, you have to essentially you're already making six different giant cutouts of an image. It's going to be a
Mm-hmm.
lot, and also with
Mm-hmm.
not a lot of space.
Right.
The other one, I mean, it's another arts and crafts style task. I know that I'm not as good with these, so that would have been interesting, but I could have at least gone for it.
Right. I would have. I see the big picture would have been what I would have wanted, but then I'm like, I would have to focus on these details and figure out this thing. So that could take a minute. With the all dolled up, I probably be like, okay, if I just follow the instructions, I can look and see what they're doing. I can hammer in some things. I can probably put together a doll and figure this out. So I probably would have went for the all dolled up because I'm like, if it's quick and you know not too complicated, we can figure it out.
Yeah. And just some fun facts that we have sprinkled along here. As said before, India is a very common place for the race to go to. Jaipur specifically, because this Jaigarh fort has been a pit stop in the past.
Yep, on Amazing Race 14.
So just an interesting crossing of fate where it's instead of stopping this time, we're just going right through.
Exactly. Just keep on moving. So the teams who decided to do the all dolled up was Joel and Garrett, Rob and Carrie, Steve and Anna Lee, and Todd and Ashley. And then Morgan and Lena, eventually.
Eventually.
Because the people who did the big picture was Andrea and Melina, Greg and John, Joe and Ian, Liam and Jeremy, and Robin and Chelsea. Now, Morgan and Lena started at the big picture and they were doing well. They only had two things that was not correct, but they got to the point where they're like, we spent 2 hours here and we still don't have it. We need to leave. And I was like, are you kidding me? Huh?
Yeah. Two. I mean, I'm trying to remember the rule offhand. It was what, like
25 minutes, they said.
which feels really, really short
Yeah.
for, and like I would expect, like, okay, after an hour, I'd consider it.
Mm-hmm.
25 minutes sounds like a really, really short time period to just say, oh, we're not getting anywhere, we're giving up.
Right.
Although, also, going for 2 hours and still not getting it, I mean, yeah, you should have hit the give up button about an hour back.
An hour ago.
But we do get the end of the episode because of it, so I'm not going to knock it too hard.
Right. It was interesting because, like, I feel like they are they do this a lot. Like, even when they did the when they decide to use their fast forward earlier, they wait too late to make the decision to do something to actually benefit them. Like, if they would have given up on this in their 30-minute or 25-minute time limit, they could have been at the all out up and passed a couple of teams. But they waited 2 hours, then decide now we're going to give up. And now you're scrambling at the end when you could have just did it and been done. But
yeah,
they consistently waited too late in my opinion to actually move. But so the after you get that if you complete your task, you go to the pit stop, which is at Katori Key Chetren.
Yeah.
And the first team to arrive there is Annalie and Steve.
Yeah. I will say there was obviously some sort of balance issue between the detour because I mean, yeah, Steve and Annalie were pretty quickly out of the roadblock.
Yep.
They kind of just got there a while before anyone else. And
an hour before anybody else.
Like, all dolled up, I mean, I guess if you're not that great at that kind of craftsmanship, it's going to take a while.
Mm-hmm.
Seemingly not, because every single team who took this essentially killed it.
Yeah.
And was out almost immediately. So
yeah, Joel and Garrett Joel and Garrett came in and did all dolled up, and they were like, we're going to do $1 piece to go help each other make sure we get it right. And they knocked that out the park so fast. So it was definitely an imbalance of the two detours.
And we really, really see that at the end of the leg. Because if they weren't in balance, once again, we would not have gotten this amazing end to the leg. But to get there, we have to get through almost every other team.
Yep. All the teams go through after let's hold on, I'm sorry, I didn't hit some things.
After them, I believe is
after
Greg
them it was Greg and John.
who,
Yeah, after Steve and Annalie, Greg and John came in second. Joel and Garrett came in third. Andrea and Melina came in fourth. Todd and Ashley came in fifth. Rob and Corey came in sixth. Robin and Chelsea came in seventh. Liam and Jeremy comes in eighth. So that leaves Morgan and Lena and Joel and Ian. So like we said, Morgan and Lena left the big picture, ran over to the all dolled up, did their task, and Joel and Ian were at the big picture. And they were both, the way they edited and showed it, they were both finishing at the same time or trying to make us believe they finished at the same time and was right by each other, like literally right in front of each other in their cabs or rickshaws.
Yeah.
And Lena and Morgan's driver took off another way in like a little shortcut. And Joe and Ian was like, "Were we supposed to turn that way?" Or we were, which made Morgan and Lena get there first and was in ninth place, which left Joe and Ian eliminated.
So for one, Morgan and Lena consistently being towards the back of the pack and surviving, honestly kind of impressive. They are a mess of a team, and I say that in the best way possible. Their communication style is yelling at each other.
Yes.
And it's fun to watch because it's dysfunction, but it also works, which is one of the weirdest scenarios I've seen in a long time. And yeah, sometimes it is just you get a good driver and you win. Yep. And unfortunately, Joe and Ian, it sucks, but I did feel like it was their time.
Yeah. Yeah. I think the way they were coming in, but see, and this is the thing, I would love to be like, oh, I can just see how this is, how it's going to happen, who's going to be next. But this next episode that we're about to talk to, absolutely not.
Chaos.
Chaos ensues. The people who you think was going to be all right, not all right. It's just crazy.
It is a scramble. And I think they learned from how well the scramble went last season. It was last season, right? Yeah, because my brain is. And we're like, how can we do that but still have be the normal format of a leg? Because this next episode was near impossible to just like figure out who was in first and who was in last at any given point.
At any given moment. It was impossible because everybody was there and then spread out and not. It was all over the place. The scramble was real. And yeah, it was insane. It was absolutely insane. And so we're going to talk about that next episode right now because a lot happened. So we also find out at the end of the last legs, Phil tells everybody that the U-turn is coming up and it's a mandatory vote for everybody to vote for this U-turn. And you will do that before you depart from the station. And so everybody knew the U-turn was coming, and they had to do this before they left. So we start off and they leave from the pit stop at Katorka-Chicharin, and they have to make their way to the famous Nara shoe store, number 32.
Number 32.
And the departure times were not as close, but kind of. So Stephen and Ali leaves at 8:48 a.m. And
Which
which is, yeah,
absurd. Absurd.
because the next team literally leaves. Greg and John leaves at 9:45 a.m., a whole hour behind them. And then Joel and Garrett leaves at 9:55 with Andrea Molina right close by. And then Todd and Ashley leaves at 10:03. Rob and Corey leaves at 10:09. Robin and Chelsea leaves at 10:29. Liam and Jeremy leaves at 10:42. And Morgan and Lena leaves at 10:44. A whole 2 hours behind Stephen and Ali.
And I think that may lead to what happens during this leg.
Mm-hmm.
Because looking at these departure times, it makes absolute sense what occurs. And
Yeah.
I'm just double checking my notes here. Yeah. I mean, it's still kind of mixed up between the U-term votes because they brought back the U-term vote for some reason. Like they did it for the Reality Rumble season and then did it here again for some reason. But I'm not complaining too much because it led to some very, very interesting conversations as the episode goes on.
Exactly. So before we get into who got U-turned, the teams had to go to the shoe store to uh, look at the Hawa Mahal. Um, the Hawa Mahal out of a telescoping monocular to search for a window to give them the next clue. And the next clue told them to go to Uday Pole number 2 near Jebwat Chalk.
Ghibli. Yeah, I think you have it.
Jalabi Chalk. I think it's Jalabi
Jalebi
Chalk.
Chalk, yeah.
Jalabi Chalk. And so they had to go there and get an electric auto rickshaw out of the lot by pushing the other rickshaws out of the way so they can get there and then travel to SD Masala Spice Shop number 49. Now, they love their numbers in India, don't they? Everything is a number, but I
They
love it.
do.
I love it. And then they were, in order to find out the next clue and to learn if they were U-turn. And so the votes went as follows, Jack, because this is where we find out who is getting U-turn. Andrea Molina voted for Stephen and Ali. Greg and John voted for Stephen and Ali. Joel and Garrett voted for Stephen and Ali. Liam and Jeremy voted for Robin and Chelsea. Morgan and Lena voted for Robin and Chelsea. Rob and Corey voted for Stephen and Ali. Robin and Chelsea voted for Stephen and Ali. Stephen and Ali voted for Robin and Chelsea. And Todd and Ashley voted for Robin and Chelsea. So by a vote of 5-4, Stephen and Ali were U-turned. And they had to do both detours. And the detours were bundles or bricks.
I do quickly want to talk about the vote layout here because it is very interesting. So I'm just making sure that I have my notes right here. So Morgan and Lena, Liam and Jeremy, and Todd and Ashley, along with Stephen and Annalie, because who else are they going to vote for? All decided to vote for Robin and Chelsea. All of them are in positions 5, 8, and 9. Other than Stephen and Annalie, who are first. I assume there was some sort of strategizing beforehand because Robin and Chelsea had done some decided not to support Todd and Ashley, and I'm pretty sure they spread it. Rob and Corey were the only ones in the bottom half, other than Robin and Chelsea, because they didn't really have any other options, to vote for Stephen and Ali. And that's what flipped it. And we see the power of that because, oh boy, do Stephen and Ali lose their lead via this U-turn. Granted, they also make one other
I must
giant
say,
mistake.
I must say, they would have been all right if they would have just did the roadblock. Did the detours as it was done, but they made a huge mistake by not completing one of the roadblocks before moving on to another roadblock. And I
Well,
was like,
yeah.
"Ooh, you should have finished it."
Yeah, and that error only comes up if they don't have to do both because it was some sort of weird direct error that they mentioned on the show where it was like because we're not getting our clue from this person, we didn't think we had to hand in the receipt, but actually we do in order to do the other detour. So it was just it was a really interesting situation where I guess Rob and Corey were confident enough in themselves that they could overtake Steven and Ali if they were
Mm-hmm.
in that position and would probably be fine
Mm-hmm.
because it was a shot at the top and the shot at the bottom, and literally by one vote, the shot at the top went through.
Mm-hmm.
But we then head to our two detour options.
Yep. I would have so quickly took bundles. I'm not picking up no bricks. I ain't doing none. The second I saw bricks, I would have been like, no, absolutely not. Bundles it is.
Yeah. And once again, this entire leg is built around transportation.
Yes.
They start with a rickshaw driver, and literally the rickshaw driver can pull up to the pit stop. So it is
Yep.
all about this wonderful company who is electric rickshaws done by fam only drivers, if I remember
Yes.
correctly.
Yes. All women drivers.
So it is really interesting to see. Okay, so you're going to bundle floor types of flour and then jump back on your rickshaw and start driving to places, or you're going to cycle with your rickshaw. You're going to get on a cycling rickshaw and
Mm-hmm.
pedal yourself to a construction site and then pedal back. So it was an interesting kind of do it yourself or have your rickshaw driver drive for you again.
Right.
I think I also would have gone with bundles immediately because
Immediately.
that did sound like an easier option as long as you trusted your rickshaw driver to
Yep.
work with you properly because
Ex-
we saw that kind of not happen.
Yes. Because some rickshaw drivers knew where they were going, some didn't. Some didn't know. And it was interesting. So after you finish your detour, you go to Garg Textile Wholesale Fabric Shop in order to receive your next clue and a bolt of fabric. And once you do that, you make your way to Jupiter Mahal and you get to go to a roadblock. And the roadblock is who likes to play with blocks? And yeah, so the roadblock has you going to use a 4 printing blocks to properly print 9 Indian peacocks on their fabric boat in order to receive their next clue. I would have sucked at this.
Oh, horrible. This is something that requires such a steady hand. This would be a fucking nightmare task for me. Just having to be like and also anytime any sort of peacock you have is not up to standard, just a giant red X on top of it
Boom.
destroys your morale.
Boom. I mean, X after X after X after. You
It
like,
was so horrible.
I would have been crying because I know me. First, I'm not good at craft stuff. My stuff looks like a child did it. So even if you told me how to do it and I'm prepped, it would look horrible. And then after so long of just X after X after X, that's so demoralizing. Ugh, that would have been horrible.
So much. Just why?
It was crazy.
It was a really funny visual though to just see Oh, are you no? Okay, you're getting more
We're
paint to
getting
do it
more
again.
paint.
Great.
It was like
Just so
bop,
vile.
bop, bop. And they're like, "Oh, you're done." He was like, "Mm-mm. More
No.
paint and more paint." It was hilarious. I kind of love watching it. I would have hated doing it, but I enjoyed watching it. So while we were there, that's when we get a lot of the conversation about the U-turn. And people were like, "Did you U-turn me?" Utterly was like, "Did you do it? Did you do it?" And so Morgan was like, "I just want to tell you, we didn't do it. We didn't do it, girl. We got you. You know, we would never do that." And so they go to Andrea Molina, and Andrea, she Annalie asked Andrew, did you U-turn us?" Andrew's like, "No,
No. Why would we have done that?
we didn't do that."
No, we absolutely did it.
We absolutely did. And the confession was like, we absolutely did, but we're not gonna tell them they do it. They can find out when they get home and watch it on TV that we did it, but we're not gonna tell them we did it because they're not gonna be coming for us later on. Absolutely not. And I was kind of like, I mean,
they're eventually gonna figure out the vote and be like, "Oh, there only 4 people are admitting to it." And one
you
of
can always put
those,
it on the person who leaves. Like, oh, they probably voted for you.
yeah, and they didn't, which is the awkward part. So
Right.
they could possibly get away with it.
They can get away with it for now if they don't just believe what they say. She's like, no. But after you leave the roadblock, you teams must make their way to the body shopper, to the pit stop, and in first place, it's Greg and John. They kind of
That
ate that up.
it, they kind of just destroyed this leg. It definitely also helps that the hour lead that Stephen
Mm-hmm.
and Ali had just evaporated
Great. Yep.
due to being U-turned and then messing up in between the U-turn in between the 2 U-turns.
Yep.
And we see that so heavily because let me just pull up the 2 legs essentially side by side here. Uh there's a lot of scrambling here. Uh some teams jump ahead, some teams
Mm-hmm.
don't. I will say once again, this episode is very much like we literally see one team doing a detour and it pans back like in a perfect shot to Robin and Chelsea doing the first route info and looking up and finding out where they're going.
Yep.
So they are all in like 2-3 blocks of the same area doing all of these tasks.
Mm-hmm.
And also, this is probably one of the most interesting pit stops we've had in a long time.
It's literally in the middle of the street, almost. It's like the roundabout for everybody to go around, and it's like the rickshaw pulls right in front of the pit stop, and they can just get let out, or the rickshaw pulls a ways away, and you got to start crossing the street to run to the pit stop. It is so. I was like, why did we choose the middle of the street for the pit stop? And
Because they
people
could.
because they could. And you see people back there taking pictures like, oh, look, the Amazing Race. I was like, okay. I love it.
And I love how they described it as, yeah, so India has 0 peak traffic hours, so it's always like this.
It
No
looks
matter
like
what
this
time
all
they
the time.
got here, they were fucked.
Which y'all, would drive me crazy. I ain't used to that no more. I'm used to uh, times of the day and night where the traffic is very minimal. You can drive on the highway and just be gone. And then you know the times of the day where it's gonna be congested and crowded when you like, okay, we probably gonna hit traffic here. No. In India, they say there's no such thing as that. It's always chaotic. 24 hours a day. It's chaotic. That's crazy to me. That's crazy to me. But Greg and John get first place and they win a trip to New Zealand. So a trip for two. So good for them. Good on you, boys, to go there. The second team to arrive was Rob and Corey. The third team was Joel and Garrett. The fourth team was Morgan and Lena. When they was done their last leg, they moved up to fourth place. Fifth place, holding strong and steady, is Todd and Ashley. Sixth place was Andrea and Melina. Seventh place was Annalie and Steve. That roadblock diminished all of their time. I mean, that detour, that U-turn. Eighth, and then so it comes down to Robin and Chelsea and Liam and Jeremy. And it really wasn't it wasn't no way they could edit around this to make it look like it was close.
It was not.
It was not close at all. Eighth place went to Robin and Chelsea, leaving my eye candy and my person I just love to look at, Liam and Jeremy. Jeremy, call me. You're so cute.
They really got screwed this episode.
Yeah. The rickshaw screwed them.
Normally, there's like one bad transportation and everything else is fine. No, you had that same transportation the entire time, and if you chose wrong at the very beginning, you were goodbye.
Done, son. And they were done. It was nothing they could do. Like, she took them to the wrong place at the very beginning when they were looking for the spice store. It was already bad from that point on. They could not catch up. They couldn't catch a break. And we lose Liam and Jeremy. And I'm sad.
So unfortunate because they were lovely, lovely people.
They were.
And it was so great to hear about just how they got to reconnect over this race.
Yeah. They've been through so much time where they were separated and going through a tumultuous relationship that now that they have reconnected and they can say that their bond is stronger, and hopefully it will continue to stay strong and get stronger. But they were lovely human beings. They were always positive, never like it was never a moment for me where I was like, ugh, they're getting on my nerves. They were very positive and sweet people and kind people. And so I hope, and they seem to have enjoyed the race. Like, even at the last, when they knew they were last, Liam was doing the peacocks, and he was like, I'm just going to enjoy it. This is so peaceful being in here by myself and figuring this thing out. I'm just going to enjoy it. And I feel like that's that moment of acceptance that happens where you're like, you know what?
There's no one else here. We know it's over, but we're gonna love what
we're gonna enjoy. I'm gonna stop and look around and see what I'm doing, because when am I gonna ever be in India making peacocks in the print shop ever again? Never. So I'm gonna enjoy it. And so Liam did that. They did that. And so we lose Liam. I'm sad. I'm sad. But that's it. Jack, we did it.
We did it.
We did this. It didn't take us all night to do this. We talked about 2 episodes of The Amazing Race. And you know what? We're going to be back here again next week. Only talking about 1 episode next time, because we're going to try to stay on target in what we're going to do. But life was happening last week, so we couldn't do it. And we had to just do 2 episodes this week. But you know what I didn't do, Jack? You know what I didn't do? I never put up a single banner about all the stuff. But that's okay. You know why? Because you could just follow us at The Cup Pod on all of our socials, Instagram, Twitter, and TikTok, because we're some funny people and we do funny things and we have funny moments. So follow us over there. You can follow Jack and myself on Twitter if you like. The links are down there. And you can follow me on Instagram. That's the Instagram right there if you wanna. Follow Jack on Twitch, because Jack is hilarious on
Aw.
Twitch and does some amazing things on Twitch. So follow Jack on Twitch. Duh, if you're not doing it already, what are you doing with your life? Get your cup merch, not limited to the cup mug, but you get the cup mug and all the other things at lanagcreations.etsy.com. The link will be in the description below. And that's it. We'll be back next week. Subscribe, follow, hit us up on all of the things. Okay. Bye, y'all. Cheers.
Cheers.
Enjoy your night. Bye.
Bye.
Do, do, do,
Do,
do,
do,
do,
do,
do,
do,
do,
do,
do,
do,
do, do.